Hello and happy Thursday. So for Thursday, I've noticed that this is mainly for these next 2 weeks is where the most of our work is being done. There are a lot of questions because usually the lesson check questions come up on this page. So hopefully you're able to get through it. If not, follow along. Let's go over the answers, write them down. And we were supposed to read and answer questions on pages 161 to 162. So let's go ahead and go over the answers. So remember, whenever there's a star, that means your answer could be written differently, but it should pretty much mean the same thing. So number one, it says, identify what are the major organs of the circulatory system. So the major organ of the circulatory system is the heart. Other organs include the blood, the arteries, veins, and capillaries. Number two, use mathematics. Using the math toolbox table, complete the equation below to calculate how much more blood flows per minute to the skeletal muscles during intense exercise than during rest. So if you had trouble doing this one, go ahead and just write out and follow along with me so you're able to understand it. So you had to go back to page 154. That's where that number 12,500 comes from. Remember, we were comparing when you're at rest versus when you're exercising for the blood flow. So for the skeletal system, that was the biggest increase. So for exercising, the amount was 12,500 cm to the third power per minute, centimeters, and resting was 1,200 centimeters to the third power cube per minute. So what we had to do is actually divide. So our numerator's that 12,500, and we are dividing, I set it up as a fraction, we are dividing by 1,200. And that's going to get us the decimal of approximately 10.417, which is about 10.4 times as much more blood flow during exercise for our skeletal muscles. Okay, number three. How do the circulatory and respiratory systems work together to transport gases to all parts of the body? So oxygen enters the body through the lungs where it attaches to red blood cells in the circulatory system. These red blood cells then move through the circulatory system, taking oxygen where it's needed. At the same time, carbon dioxide attaches to the red blood cells. The red blood cells return to the lungs when it's released and let out of the lungs. So just about talking about when we inhale, we are inhaling the oxygen, it attaches to red blood cells, it's moved throughout the body so we can go ahead and get it to all parts of the body. And then when we exhale, it's released out of our lungs, but it is an exchange with the red blood cells. So it drops off the oxygen, it picks up any carbon dioxide, which is the waste, goes back to the lungs, gives it to the lungs so the lung can go ahead and release that out of our mouth or our nose when we breathe out. Number four. How does the excretory system remove waste from the blood of the circulatory system? So it says, as blood passes through the nephrons in the kidneys, wastes are removed. The kidneys turn the wastes into urine, which is excreted from the body. All right, and we had a question at the bottom. It says, consider how your body systems interact when you train for your favorite sport. How does physical exertion impact your heart, lungs, and kidneys? Well, overall, you probably would have said that your heart, your kidneys, your lungs, they're all working more because you are raising your heart rate. You are making sure to move your body more. Okay, we know that based on that blood flow chart that we made. So let's go ahead and see what I had wrote. Hopefully what you wrote was something similar. So my heart works harder to pump more blood because the cells need more oxygen for cellular respiration. Cellular respiration is just is a fancy word for the exchange of oxygen coming into our body when we inhale and when we exhale, that carbon dioxide being released. Okay, my lungs work harder because I need to take in more air in order to get oxygen to the cells in my body, especially muscle tissue. My kidneys work harder because there is more waste to expel from the body. Okay, let's check the next page. Over the questions on the next page. So now we are starting lesson 5, which is some information on our controlling processes. So the question at the bottom is asking, what senses is the diver using to receive information about this encounter? Explain. So actually the diver picture is on the other page, and the diver is interacting with a shark. So for this one, I put the diver sees the shark and might also feel one of them brush up against her. So because they are swimming and the sharks are swimming, maybe a shark might brush up against her. Now, the second question, why would the diver know to respond to the stimulus? Explain. Okay, so the diver learned that sharks can be unpredictable. She remembers that she would move to a safer place to observe the sharks. Okay, so you pretty much could have said any type of answer because this is just things that we are trying to infer before we actually read a little bit more about our information processes and our nervous system. So if you said something way different than this, that is completely fine. Okay, because this is more so like our prediction of what we think is happening. All right. Hope you understood and got all your answers reviewed and updated, and I'll see you tomorrow for Friday. Woohoo!